I'm going to tell you the biggest sales mistakes to avoid so you can increase your sales, and we're starting right now. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Nice to see you again. Now, if it's your first time here, this channel is all about entrepreneurship, success mindset, and sales training videos. So if you want to succeed in life and business and increase your sales, go ahead, subscribe down below, and don't forget to hit that bell notification button so you don't miss anything. Now, we all make mistakes, and our biggest mistake is not learning from our mistakes, and even worse, not knowing our mistakes. In other words, we do not know our mistakes to correct our mistakes, if that makes sense. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you the 7 biggest sales mistakes you need to avoid to increase your sales and set your way to becoming a master closer. Now, before I get started, real quick, comment down below what mistakes you see salespeople make. I don't care if it's customer service, in a shop, selling clothes, anything. What are the biggest mistakes according to you that you see salespeople make? Comment down below. Then make sure you watch till the end of this video because I'm going to show you something that's very interested indeed. So let's get right to it. Sales mistake number 1, thinking you do not need a script. Now, before you give me a bunch of excuses about how scripts sound unnatural, they don't sound unnatural. You sound unnatural. This is because you haven't been practicing your script long enough for it to become you and make it yours. See, if you use your script long enough, if you keep repeating it, it will become natural to you. And if you keep stopping that, and if you don't believe that, you'll never get to that point where things just flow naturally. Does that make sense? Listen, I know it's hard, and I'll make a confession right now. I rarely use scripts. I rarely write anything down. But the truth is, most of my sales, most of my effective sales came from when I used to write scripts in the timeshare industry, especially when I was selling on stage. Now, keep in mind that having a sales script does not mean you're not versatile, you don't add things in when the situation arises, or you don't impromptu a little bit. Think about the best stand-up comedians for a second. Who is your favorite comedian? Mine is Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor. They all have scripts and they all use it in all their shows. As a matter of fact, if they're on tour, they say exactly the same things. Now, sometimes something happens or arises and they come out with something that's there and then, if you will, but it's all scripted in the most part. And if you look at their older videos, if you go to Comedy Central, you will see the same things over and over again. But when you watch, for example, Eddie Murphy in Delirious or Raw, it is so perfect and so natural. But you can see the same things in older shows and it's not that good. This is because they were perfected over the years. See, it's all a process for taking your client from one stage to the next. And scripts allow you to do this perfectly. Well, as much as perfect it can be. Look, if you want to be a master closer, if you really want to sell, you need a script. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Big mistake number 2, trying to trick your customer. All these so-called gurus online trying to tell you the best closes or tips and tricks. I even heard of somebody say, do what your customer doesn't expect so you can trick them into buying. This is all crap. See, you're not gonna get far in sales if you're trying to trick people, and you're not gonna get very far by acting like something you're not, by acting like something that your customer is not expecting. It's gonna look fake. Listen, you're not gonna trick your customers buying from you. And if that's your mentality, you are an amateur, you will always be an amateur, and you will never, ever make it in sales, at least not to a higher level. You'll always be subpar. You need to show your customer how your product or your solution will work for them, and you need to sell yourself. Don't use tips and tricks and stupid tactics. Don't be cheap. And doing things they don't expect won't land you a deal either. What are you gonna do? High five them and chest bump them and ask them to buy your product? That's not gonna work. Big mistake number 3, trying to close at the end of your presentation. Yes, you need to close, but if you're trying to close your customer at the end of your presentation, you're doing it wrong. Let me tell you about the goodnight kiss. This is an example so you can understand exactly how a sales process works. Imagine you are a young man and you're going on a date and you go to pick up the girl from her house. Now, you knock on the doorbell, you're looking your best, you're smelling good, you've cut your hair, unless you don't have hair, and the parents answer the door. You see the girl walking down the steps, she's looking beautiful, you're looking good, and her dad says, bring her back by 11 o'clock, please, and you say, okay. You then escort her to the car, you open the door for her like a gentleman, and then you drive her off. You go out, you have dinner, you show her a good time. You're walking on the beach holding hands, you are talking, you're getting to know each other, you are asking questions and learning about her and what she wants and what her needs is and what she likes. Then you take her home on time and you're on the porch and you want to kiss her. And that's where you need to close her. Now bear with me, I'm not saying you need to close her, just bear with me, okay? Now let's think of the other scenario. You go to pick up the girl, you knock on the doorbell 10 times, her dad answers the door, you say, what's up? High five. Chest bump. You see the girl coming down, like, dressed beautifully. She looks like an angel. You look like crap. You haven't shaved. You haven't fixed your hair. No cologne. You take her, you escort her to the car. You do not open the door for her. You let her get in herself. You drive her to McDonald's. You take her to a bar with some rowdy friends. You take her back home at night after telling her what you like, what you're about, and everything you just force shit down her mouth, I don't know what. You take her home and you're at the porch late. What kind of clothes could you possibly do to kiss her? You won't be able to, and if you do, it's gonna be very rare. Whilst in the first situation, all you have to do is lean in and she will kiss you. In the second situation, she'll slap you. And if she doesn't, her dad will for bringing her home late. In other words, it's the whole process. That's where you talk to the person, your client, and you answer their questions and you show them, not tell them, why your product or you are good for them. By the way, you're always selling yourself. You're not selling the product. Remember that. But do you understand the example? Do you see how this works? Sales mistake number 4, not closing. Talking about closing, I actually heard a sales professional, a trainer say, you don't need to close, don't close, it doesn't work, it's old school. Look, if someone says you do not need to close or that closing is old school, these people don't know what closing is or don't understand what closing is. Using an alternative close or a takeaway is not gonna make you lose the deal. As a matter of fact, it can help you save the deal many times. Let me explain. Picture this scenario, okay? The client says, I gotta ask my spouse. Now, if you are not closing, if you do not want to close, what are you gonna say? Okay. That's really not gonna work. Opposed to using a close, for example, okay, what if they say no? This will act like a natural takeaway and actually make your client think. And there will be 2 answers they're gonna give you. Either they will say, Paul, if I really want something, my spouse won't stop me because we have an understanding, we love each other, or something like that. In which case you say, okay, So do you want it? And then take it from there. That way you will shift the focus back to them. Or they will say no means no, in which case you can ask them, okay, what do you think your spouse will say no to? Is it the product or is it the price, which is an alternative clause? See, you have to understand, I have to ask my spouse, it's not a real objection, it's their objection. It's not their spouse's objection. Does that make sense? Their spouse is not even there. They're trying to buy time. They may need you to make them think. They may not understand something. See, when you ask them, what do you think they need to think about the product or the price? If they say it's the product, find out where their objection is. Maybe they didn't understand something about the product. If they say it's the price, find out what it is. Is it the deposit or is it the installments? Again, it's an alternative clause. If, for example, right here, you can use a Mr. Echo to find out the real reason. They might say, I can't afford it. I can't afford your product. You will say, you can't afford it. And they'll say something like, yeah, because I have to pay installments for the next 5 months for my kid's graduation or something like that. Now you know where the problem is. And then you could use a if I could you clause. So if I could start your installments 5 months after your graduation, your son's graduation, would that work for you? Did you see where I'm going? You're closing, you're always closing. You're not tricking them, you're not brainwashing them. You're helping them think, finding information, and giving solutions. So don't let people tell you you don't need to close. Mistake number 5, prejudging your client. There's a very big difference between prejudging and pre-qualifying. See, when I was in timeshare, I used to be a TO, a takeover manager, and a lot of times we used to fight over couples, and all the TOs, all the managers, we were on commission only, by the way, they used to try and get the clients that looked rich, that had the most money. I used to pick the ones that looked poor, the ones that people didn't want. See, these people had more of a need, and those are the clients I went to. I never prejudged. A lot of these clients had money, or because people didn't take them seriously, they were never taken care of. And that's where I got most my sales. That was one of my secrets. And don't miss that. Never, ever prejudge your clients. Mistake number 6, asking for referrals. Listen, most of your sales, depending on which industry you are in, are gonna come from referrals. And most salespeople do not know how to ask for referrals. It's mind-boggling. There's a very big difference when you ask, do you know anybody that wants this? Versus, who do you know that could also value from this product? And even better, okay, think of 2 names that could also benefit from this product, then asking for the numbers. See, your brain, when you ask people to think of 2 names, it can't help but to think of 2 people with those names. Then you ask for the number and then you'll get more referrals. It's actually quite interesting. It really works. You should try it. By the way, if you can give them a reason as well when you ask for something, that raises your percentage to get the referrals even more. Let me give you an example. Real quick, think of a name that could also benefit from watching this video right now. Just think of a name and please share this video with them. You'll both be happy you did. Now, believe it or not, that would work more than me just asking to share the video or me asking who do you know to share this video with. As long as you give a reason, doesn't matter, it could be a stupid reason, right? Try this the next time you go to a supermarket. Try and ask somebody if you can cut in front of them. Just say something like, hey, can I get in front? Opposed to, can I get in front? I have an appointment in 3 hours. Even though 3 hours is a long time away, they will actually, look, try it, try the experiment. They will give you their place more times than without a reason. Now keep in mind, they do not need to be a customer for you to ask for a referral. Even if they don't buy from you, you can still ask for referrals. Also, let me tell you real quick what I used to do. I used to ask for the referrals by name, like I said before, then ask if we can call them together. And we would call them together and I would talk to them on the phone with their friend right next to them. Now, if they say no, sure, you can call them some other time and name drop, but try this. You'll be surprised how much it works. And even if you are cold calling, there's a huge difference when you ask someone by name and tell them about their friend, that you got their number from them, rather than just cold calling them. Does that make sense? It just comes from a different angle. It just works better. Now, before I go to the 7th biggest mistake, remember in the beginning of this video when I asked you to comment down below what mistakes you see from salespeople, what you think the biggest mistakes are, what you don't like? If you didn't answer, take a few seconds and comment down below right now. What do you think is the biggest mistake salespeople make, either from the ones I mentioned in this video or your own, what you see, whether there are salespeople, door-to-door, customer service, hotels, I don't care, telemarketers. Tell me what you think are the biggest mistakes. Go ahead, comment down below. And then make sure you watch till the end of this video because this is gonna be really interesting. Biggest mistake number 7, salespeople talk too much. Telling is not selling, and salespeople, they just want to tell and give benefits and talk about themselves and just keep talking, and they do not let the client speak. If you just listen 9 times out of 10, your client will tell you what they want. They will tell you what they want to hear. They will tell you what they're trying to solve. But you are talking so much, you won't let them breathe or think. And you just don't give them a second. Just stop talking. Shut up. If they're not telling you why they're not buying, they might tell you why they can't buy. And you can solve that problem, whether it's for that sale, for that person, or for a future sale. You will learn. Just be quiet and listen. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to look at the comments down below, and I want you to read what people are writing, what people are saying, what they think the biggest sales mistakes are, or what they don't like about salespeople. See, all these comments that are being made in this video, you need to learn from as a closer. So if somebody says, for example, I hate people trying to close me, that means a lot of closers, or so-called closers, are trying to use cheap tactics, or they don't know how to close, or the client understands that they're trying to close them. That means they're doing something wrong. Learn what people don't like. Listen, there's a saying, always be closing. Forget that. Always be learning. Now, if you want to keep learning, if you want to increase your sales and become a master closer, go ahead and subscribe down below and watch this video right here, which shows you how to close objections in 2 minutes. Or watch this video right here, recommended to you by YouTube. I'll see you in the next video. I'm Paul Democritou, and until next time, keep succeeding.